Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the East Brunswick Township Council meeting for Monday, November 27th, 2023. Will everyone please rise as we salute our nation with the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of personal reflection. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Township Clerk, please call roll and read our statement of adequate notice.
Councilman Bahal?
Here.
Councilman Wendell?
Here.
Councilwoman Winston?
Here.
Councilwoman Zambicki? Here. Council President McAvoy?
Here.
Also present, Mayor Brad Cohen?
Here.
Administrator Joseph Cusculo?
Here.
And Township Attorney Michael Baker.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as required under Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, by specifying the time, date, location, and to the extent known, the agenda, by posting a copy on the bulletin board located in the main lobby of the East Brunswick Municipal Building, providing a copy to the Home News Tribune and Sentinel newspapers, posting a copy on the Township's website, and by filing a copy in the office of the Township Clerk, which will be entered into the minutes.
Thank you. Council, I have before you Resolution 23-325, adopting our meeting minutes from November 13th, 2023. May I have a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Second?
Second.
Is there a need for change or clarification on these minutes? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilman Bahal?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
Council President McAvoy?
Yes. At this time, we will entertain our service award presentations. This is an award given to residents by our Recreation, Parks, and Advisory Board, spearheaded by their president, Mr. David Lonsky. Mr. Lonsky, the podium is yours.
With your indulgence, Council President, I'm going to ask if Mike Reisner, our Recreation Department Director, I think he wanted to address the, you want to start? No? All right, just me. There you go. Thank you, Council President, members of the Council, and the Mayor, esteemed dignitaries, Tamar and Lauren. We got both of you here this evening. And, of course, Joe, our Business Administrator. I'm here tonight on behalf of our Mike, Township Attorney, Mr. Baker, please forgive me.
You are forgiven.
Is there anyone else I missed? All right. The Recreation Parks Advisory Board is a group of volunteers from the community. Our representative, Dana Zambicki from the council, serves this year as our liaison, and Vicki Becker from the Board of Education is our liaison from the Board of Ed. There's several members here in attendance that I would like to come on up. I think Rachel's here, and Ronnie, you can come up and share the podium with me, because this is really an effort of our entire board to recognize individuals and a business as those that highlight the contributions that residents and businesses make to our great community. And I should mention that the RPAB has, and the Recreation Parks Department has purchased and planted a tree within the township's park system bearing a plaque in honor of each of our recipients tonight. This tradition coincides with the department's mission to replant as many trees as possible within our community. Both of this year's award trees are planted at the Great Oak Park in the township. Come on up, you can join me up here. Without further ado, the first recipient that we're going to honor this evening is the individual award winner, Diana Wiener. Diana, congratulations. And what I'm going to do is just highlight some of the things that she's done in our community, because I'd be here all night if I tried to address everything. Diana is a lifelong resident of the Township and an East Brunswick High School graduate. She has been an active member of the community, participating in our buddy baseball, basketball, and, I'll remember this, the St. Bart's Buffalo Challenger cheerleader. Remember that? Yep. All right. Diana actually went to Florida to perform with the team.
Yep.
And had a great time, right? Great experience. Diana volunteered after aging out in our rec programs and continued to share her love of cheerleading. She went on to cheer with the East Brunswick High School team as a participant with a disability. Diana has volunteered at East Brunswick Day representing the Daisy Recreation Program, a rec program for children and adults with disabilities, and annually at the East Brunswick Education Association Barnes & Noble Book Fair and the East Brunswick Education Foundation Dance-Off. Do you remember those?
Yep.
Yeah. Diana is an active member of the Daisy Recreation Program, participating in many of their programs, and has a true love for our community. She is embraced, and her community embraces her. We love her too. Diana has also volunteered at the Daisy Association Tricky Tray and currently gives back to the Daisy Rec program as an employee. It is my pleasure to present Diana with the 2023 Friends of the Recreation, Parks, and Community Services Award. Come on up. Congratulations. Yes, of course. I'll move my papers.
I couldn't reach the mic, sorry.
It's okay, you good?
Yeah. Thanks everyone for coming. I'm glad to be here tonight. Thanks for the award.
You're quite welcome. Give me the award.
Oh, okay.
There you go, Diana. There you go. Congratulations. And this is for you as well.
Now, that's true love and enthusiasm for our township. Thank you. And thank you for everything that you do. Our next award recipient is for a civic organization and/or business, and that awardee is Route 18 Lumber. 18 Lumber, you guys can come on up, I guess. The Recreation Department gave me about 19 pages worth of things to say. 18 Lumber, so again, I'm just going to highlight some of the things. So again, very grateful community, we thank you. In 1965, John Dobrinsky Sr. and his brother Mark opened a little store on a big piece of property along Route 18 and began selling lumber and giving advice to contractors, residents, and anyone else who needed it. And I have to say, my wife was there quite a bit asking a lot of questions, so we really appreciate all that advice. What has always set 18 Lumber apart is that they sell good quality supplies and their strong relationship with their customers. The family business has helped build and sustain one of East Brunswick's best-known family-run businesses in town by carrying all the supplies that residents need. Since it began, 18 Lumber has been a place customers can get advice. Whether it's contractors or residents, they do whatever they can to help our community with projects on how to install and use products that they sell. For decades, Route 18 Lumber has supported the East Brunswick community. The East Brunswick Recreation and Parks Department is very active in supporting our local scout troops who perform numerous Eagle Scout projects throughout the township's park system. Many of these projects include the Scouts building benches, picnic tables, bird boxes, bat boxes, dog park play elements, shade structures, footbridges, and I can go on. Most of the supplies and lumber have been donated by 18 Lumber. Many Scouts visit 18 Lumber to see if they can donate some of their supplies to the Scouts to assist them in their projects. And ultimately, they always come back saying that 18 Lumber comes through with a donation. One recent project involved repairing and replacing several of the benches and kiosks at the Butterfly Park located within the Great Oak Park. Through the Scouts' detailed paperwork that is necessary for their approval, a receipt was given to them from 18 Lumber with a value of about $500 worth of materials for their project. Every single piece of lumber was donated at no cost to the Scout. This is just one small example of the dozens of projects that they have supported throughout the years within our community. They consistently come through to support our youth, and their endeavors give back to the township. 18 Lumber is a shining example of a small business giving back to their community and our community tenfold, and we are grateful for your longtime support. Thank you. Congratulations. Podium is yours. You want to say something? Now's your
Go
chance.
ahead, Mark, you never lost words.
Well, I certainly appreciate it,
It's just our way to try to give back to the community a little bit.
and you certainly do, and it's greatly appreciated.
And I'd like to acknowledge my father over there, John, who is the
Mr. Lawson? John and Jack. Hang on, the Dobrinskis, we need a team photo,
Yeah,
please. And family,
come on
please.
up.
Mike, please. I don't know if we're going to get that second part that I wanted, but that's okay. That's okay.
Can we kind of make like 2 rows? So we can fit everybody in? I can't see behind maybe, oh, you still make it in. Oh, squeeze in. How about towards the center? To the left, to the left. Come on.
Are you involved?
Third row.
Okay.
Jump in there, Ronnie. It won't be a picture we're back without Ronnie. Every town needs a Ronnie Lee. Got it.
Thank you.
Brandon, why don't you bring your family up? You got to sneak over here.
Okay.
Get behind them.
Until we get everybody, we good? Yeah. Good? Everybody in? Joe, you can get everybody?
Give me some room.
It's rare for me.
Thanks. All right, take care now.
Thanks, Steve.
Council President, I think Mike just wants to invite everyone to the holiday celebration on behalf of the rest of the board.
Please. Mr. Reisner?
Thank you guys for that time for honoring our community awards. Just a brief message. This Sunday, December 3rd, I believe, we'll be having a winter holiday fest, Wonderland, at the municipal complex. This is kind of the first year we're doing this this year, so it kind of coincides with our Christmas tree and menorah lighting that we do every year, and we decided to make it just one big, long day. So we look forward to everybody coming out. It's 11:30 to 6 o'clock p.m. here at the municipal complex. There's lots to do for the kids. There's an iceless skating rink. There's a trackless train around the pond. There's s'mores, cookies with claws, all kinds of fun activities going on. So there's an event page on our website, the Township website. If you go to the Recreation and Parks Department's website, you can find it there. There's a lot more information on times, how to register for certain activities, where to park, all that good stuff. So we hope to see a lot of the community out this Sunday. And no rain, please.
Mr. Reisner, before you leave, one of the many things that's going on is the lighting of the tree and the lighting of the menorah. Do you have a time frame as to when that might be happening, in case people can't make it for some ice skating and some train rides?
Yes, sir, that'll be 5 o'clock PM.
5 o'clock?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Okay. Ordinances for a second reading. Public hearing, Township Clerk. Have you read it? Skip on that? During
Yeah, or during my report, or I'll do it on my report.
Okay. Let's move on to our reports section of the meeting. Mayor Cohen?
Thank you, Council President. And before I go to my report, I just wanted to make mention, as many of you know, before I became mayor, I was a member of the Township's Board of Education. And one of the true honors that you get as a Board of Education member is to hand out diplomas to the students that are graduating. And we rotated among the 9 of us that are on the board. And as many of you know, when I'm not doing the job as mayor, I'm a physician in obstetrics and gynecology. And it was a true honor, because there were multiple kids that would come across that stage that I would hand a diploma to, who, when they mentioned the name, I didn't remember the first name, but the last name was clearly somebody that I had delivered. So it's a huge honor when you get to do something like that. And then tonight, we just gave an honor to Diana. And as her mother will attest, I was a resident at the time, so I assisted with her delivery. It is always such a great, warm feeling in your heart when you get to see the people that you have delivered, known them obviously from the day they were born, really receive such a huge honor, and it just first of all makes me feel a little old, but besides that, and more importantly, that children that we deliver are our future. We just had Girl Scouts here this evening just before the meeting started, and they were learning about democracy. And their question was, what do you think is the most important part of your job? And the real answer to that question is doing exactly what I'm doing there, teaching democracy, which is in all of world history in its infancy, and it needs to be cared for in a way that preserves it. And the best way to preserve it is to teach our next generation. So these are the things that, as you get to this point in your life, you really find these opportunities to teach and to take stock of how far we've come and how lucky we really are to live here. And so I congratulate Diana and your family on an award, and you're giving back all these years to a community you obviously feel very, very important to you, and an honor that's well deserved. So, my thoughts. Just left for each of the council members a copy of an article that Joe gave me earlier today from My Central Jersey, talking about the Township of Reddington, which will be hiring its own, each person will be hiring their own garbage service next year, because the issue with garbage and refuse is a statewide problem. The costs have gone up so high. In this town in particular, a town that has about 4,600, 4,700 people, our public schools is double that size. So we're obviously a much bigger town, but in this town alone, their bill for garbage going into next year in a new contract will go from $616,000 if they were to take the contract to almost $2 million. That is a 223% increase in the costs. That's what most towns are facing because of the lack of people to do the job, the cost, lawsuits for workers' comp, because I hate to tell you, but people get injured a lot more in a field like that than many others. And so the costs have gone through the roof, and most towns are facing these type of decisions. We recently did the exact same thing here. Our 5-year contract expires the end of December. We went out earlier this year and tried to secure somebody through the open bidding process, which we're required to do by law. And for the last 2 5-year cycles, we had one person respond to that contract, one company. So you have no negotiating room with that one company. And this is common throughout the state. Many don't get anybody responding for the business because they make far more money doing private hauling than they do doing it for a township bidding process where we're obviously not going to pay as much as they would get if you each did it privately. Our increase this year in a 5-year contract over the 5 years came to 30%, or about 6% per year. I think we'll take that over the 223% per year contract that they have. Our contract also, going into next year, provides more service than we have right now. Right now, as most of you know, we only do twice-a-week pickup for the months between Memorial Day and Labor Day. Next year we will be, and for the 5-year contract, it will be twice a week all year for the entire year. So that's already more service than we have before. So we are actually getting more service than what we had in the old contract. The difference in the first year amounts to about $800,000, as opposed to a town much smaller than ours having this massive of an increase, which is far more common than what we got here. The problem in a town that gets such an increase is that increase is considered an outside of cap expense, meaning that if your expenses go above 2%, by law, the township is required to go out and have the public vote on its budget. But there are certain things that are excluded from the cap because you have no control as a township in those expenses. Those examples would be health insurance, which we have no control over the increase in health insurance. Pension costs, we have no control over that. Interest rates, the town can't control that. So if your costs go above 2% because of those reasons, a town is allowed to go out and have a budget that's above 2%. But garbage is not outside of the cap, which means that for this town, if they were to take that contract, every year, for every year of that contract, they have to go to a referendum to approve the budget because it is an expense that will absolutely be well above a 2% increase per year in that township just from the municipal portion of the budget alone. So I think that while there may be, a lot of talk about the refuse contract that we have going into next year, I think that we have a good relationship with the company. They have a great working relationship with the township. We will defend them when we think that they're right. We will tell them when we think they're wrong. But it's a good relationship, and I think part of that contributed to the fact that while I'm not thrilled with any increase, none of us are, but the increase that we have and the increased services that we're going to be getting next year in that contract, I think make it a pretty good deal in light of the fact that this article is more the norm as what's happening across the state than what happened here. So I just wanted to make that clear. I was also going to mention about the Winter Wonderland, but Mike took that. The other thing I see in the social media sphere, which I always should turn off of reading, but this is the time of year that we predictably see more crime in town in terms of people stealing, and especially when it comes to packages that are left on porches. This is the time of year that we always see an uptick in that type of activity. But crime in East Brunswick, we've never had a year where there was no crime, otherwise we wouldn't need police at all. But our crime statistics for this year are actually lower than in most years in the past. What the difference is today is that everybody has ring systems or something like that, and so and social media allows everybody to know when anything happens. We also have a police department that reports all that stuff to the public because it is public information. You're entitled to know that by law, and we want you to know that. We're not trying to hide anything, but the actual rates of crime, there's only one area where we have seen an uptick in crime, and that's going on throughout the entire state because it's a statewide problem, is in auto theft. That is up, and that's up throughout the state. But in every other area of crime statistics, and you don't need to believe me because it's public knowledge, you could pull that off of the internet, our crime statistics have not changed appreciably in 20 years. So you may be reading more about things, you may be seeing people park things on social media, so we know about it, but the actual rate of crime has not changed. The increase that we typically see this time of year is probably going to repeat itself again because it's done so for the last 20 years. I can't imagine why it would be any different this year. So we just need everybody to be diligent. We have police that are here to protect us most of the time. They're either in uniform, many times they're not. So they're there even though you might not necessarily see them. We also have and rely on the public. For as much as people may now know about what's going on, but these ring systems have been enormously helpful to public safety because many times they've used those tapes to apprehend people that might have gone unapprehended previously. So it's enormously helpful. If you see cars or people in places in your property or around the streets that you know don't belong there or you're just not sure, call police. We want to be proactive in all of these things, and we want to keep crime to an absolute minimum. But there's never been a year that it's been zero, so let's be realistic about that and do what we can to keep everybody safe. And that can't all be the police. We also have to rely on each other to look out for our neighbors and for ourselves and to report things that we think are just doesn't sit right. Just report it. The police would rather investigate something that turns out to be nothing than to have had an opportunity to apprehend somebody and we didn't do it because somebody was afraid to call the police. We don't want that. So I just wanted to make those things clear as we head into the holiday season, and I wish all of you a very happy and healthy holiday season. I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I look forward to Christmas and all the holidays and New Year's to come. So that's my report.
Thank you, Mayor. Our Business Administrator, Mr. Crisculo.
Yeah, and one way the community can help us with the auto crime throughout the state is take your keys in the house, don't leave your key fob in the car, and lock your car. Lock it. Number of burglaries in surrounding communities, you'll read about them. Somebody just left their key fob in the car. So they come up to the car, they open the door. Oh, the door opened. Maybe the key fob's in there. They jump in the car, hit the button. Woo, it starts. Bye. So please follow up on that. That's one thing that everybody should be able to do. And one great thing with the newer cars, you get the apps on your phone. I know me, I have it already set. 9 o'clock at night, I see the app come on, locks my car. Probably locked it already, but please, if you could do that as well. Just one thing tonight, Council President, I'd like to welcome a new member to the East Brunswick family. Caitlin, who runs the Daisy Recreation Program, gave birth this week to Kira. Will is a supervisor in the Parks and Recreation Department. And so we'd like to welcome to the world our newest member of the East Brunswick family, and Caitlin, her mom, Caitlin, and brother Owen, big brother Owen. So we're delighted and extremely happy that we have this new little one in the world, and it's a fabulous thing. We got to experience with her through her pregnancy, and it was a lot of fun just to see her at events as she developed. And she's a wonderful employee, and we wish the newborn baby all the luck and success and health that they deserved.
Thank you, Mr. Crisculo, and I'm sure they're watching from home right now and appreciate
I doubt
those.
it.
More important
Probably
things.
changing diapers and hoping the baby goes to sleep.
There you go. Our attorney, Mr. Baker.
Thank you, Council President. Just one item. At the council meeting, last council meeting on the 13th, group of ordinances, 2328 through 2336, were introduced in first reading. We were going to have the hearing on those tonight. Instead, the hearing on those matters will be on December 11th. So if anyone is here for those ordinances that were voted on at the last meeting, the hearing will be December 11th. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Our Township Clerk, Ms. Lawful.
I have nothing to report.
Council members, committee or board reports? Councilwoman Zambicki?
Just very quickly. So Mr. Reisner spoke about the Winter Wonderland. There's one thing I wanted to add on, that we're also hosting a giving tree for cold weather accessories. So if you can bring a hat or gloves or mittens, scarves to donate, that would be awesome. And I also want to congratulate our Crystal Springs staff. Our staff received the prestigious Silver International Aquatic Safety Award for 2023. The award is given based on a series of unannounced evaluations during the season, and our team did absolutely amazing. So thank you to Mr. Reisner, thank you to John Roche, the management team, and all of the Crystal Springs staff for their commitment for professional excellence. It's something to be very proud of in our town. Another thing to be very proud of.
Thank you, Councilwoman Zambicki. At this point, I will entertain comments from the public. Ms. Lawful, will you please read our public comment statement?
The public comment portion of our meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments. In accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the East Brunswick Rules of Council, the council asks the public to limit their comments to 5 minutes or less. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond, not respond, or ask the administration to respond.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to address the council president? Please.
Good evening. My name is Marissa Petrone, and I'm a resident here in East Brunswick at 51 Hillsdale Road. I'm a critical care nurse at Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas Health in New Brunswick. I'm here to request that you, as municipal leaders, pass a resolution in support of Bill A4536 and S304, which establishes minimum registered professional nurse staffing standards for hospitals, ambulatory surgery facilities, and certain DHS facilities. What is safe staffing, or staffing standards? It is appropriate and enforceable nurse-to-patient ratios that are evidence-based, which keep nurses and patients safe. Other states have mandated ratios. For example, 1 nurse to 2 patients in the ICU, 1 nurse to 3 patients in a step-down, also known as intermediate care, 1 nurse to 4 patients in the emergency room, and 1 nurse to 5 patients on a typical hospital unit. To an outsider's perspective, Robert Wood Johnson presents itself as a utopia. They publicize their ratios as safe, however, not everything is as it appears. While RWJ's guidelines exceed what this legislation would mandate, they frequently fall short on their own policies. This is because there are no penalties when staffing does not meet their own set of guidelines. Robert Wood Johnson's safe staffing ratios is just a buzzword. Hospitals should not be able to absolve themselves of their responsibilities while getting paid for substandard care. I have dedicated close to 10 years of my career to this institution. I moved from New York to New Jersey, away from my family and friends, to commit to this hospital. I was actively a part of the Shared Governance Committee for my unit, which includes staff members discussing and developing new ideas that may affect our unit to promote patient safety and improve outcomes. In 2021, I helped implement a CAUTI prevention initiative, which not only decreased patient morbidity, mortality, and length of stay, but it helped save the hospital money. I willingly came in the middle of my maternity leave to present this CAUTI prevention initiative to help this institution gain magnet recognition. I am not disclosing this in efforts to brag, but to help you understand that I represent only one of the 1,700 nurses on strike. One. 1,700 nurses on strike for over 100 days, and hospital executives have spent over $150 million on replacement nurses rather than meet our key demands for safe staffing. This money could have gone to the hiring of more nurses so that the hospital can meet these safe staffing ratios. A licensed replacement nurse can walk into this facility and take care of our patients, but the question is, are they a Robert Wood nurse? And the answer is no. A Robert Wood nurse understands our patient population in our community. A Robert Wood nurse dedicates time to improving patient outcomes by partaking in committees, unit projects, and formulating safe, evidence-based hospital policies. This is the value of a Robert Wood Johnson nurse over a replacement nurse. Studies show repeatedly that understaffing compromises patient care and safety. Understaffing in hospitals is an urgent public health crisis that impacts any resident who may spend time in a hospital. 2 states have mandated safe ratios, similar to the bill we are proposing to you all, California and Oregon. What makes patients in those states sicker than New Jersey? The answer is nothing. So why do those states care more about the well-being of their residents than New Jersey? New Jersey deserves safe staffing. You and your loved ones all deserve safe staffing. I'm here today to ask you to put a resolution on the agenda and vote on it at the next council meeting in support of legislation that needs to move forward in our state legislature. This resolution would demonstrate your commitment to our community's public health and advocate for legislation that would address this serious concern that impacts all of us. This is a bipartisan issue. Whether or not you or your loved ones get sick and spend time in a hospital, it is not determined by your political affiliation. We need our legislators to co-sponsor this bill. This resolution will demonstrate your support and encourage any of our legislators in our district who are not yet co-sponsors to take a closer look at this bill. This bill allows nurses to provide more direct patient care and to be able to individualize care for each of our patients. During COVID-19, we cared for the residents of this community. We were called heroes and supported by all. To preserve whatever safety we can, we sacrifice our needs and dignity first for our patients, leaving us with moral injury. Will you, as municipal leaders of our communities, pass this resolution in support of state legislation, A4536, S304? We look forward to working with you to answer any questions about the bill or resolution and provide any additional information you might need. Thank you for your consideration.
Anyone else wishing to address the council president, please?
Good evening, Council. My name is Christian Kane, and I'm a nurse and resident here in East Brunswick on Shetland Road, 7 Shetland Road. Today is day 116 of the nurses' strike, and Robert Wood Johnson has spent over $150 million on strike breakers instead of agreeing to minimum staffing ratios. We are still seeking a fair contract that ensures safe and sustainable conditions that we as nurses need to achieve the high-quality care our communities deserve. While Robert Wood Johnson continues to choose profits over patients, we as members of this community are here to request that you as leaders here in East Brunswick pass a resolution in support of Bill A4536/S304, which would establish minimum staffing standards for nurses in New Jersey. In a video statement made by Hospital President Alan Lee on August 6th, he claims that our staffing levels already exceeded what is outlined in this legislation. The truth is that while Robert Wood Johnson's policies and guidelines do exceed this legislation, they frequently fail to meet their own standards. In the same video, Associate CMO Anthony Altobelli admits that, quote, "If we do not have enough nurses, we cannot deliver the complex, high acuity care that our institution is known for." Coincidentally, the hospital's leapfrog grade has slipped from an A to a B this past year. This independent advocacy group goes on to show that it's not just Robert Wood Johnson. There has been a significant increase in healthcare-associated infections, a decline in patient experience, and worsened hospital safety across the state. New Jersey has dropped from the #1 ranking to 13th. This is the result of fighting against evidence-based legislation for the past 20 years. The need for explicit nurse-to-patient ratios is to ensure staffing minimums. When acting as charge nurse, we create staffing assignments for the oncoming shift. Our current standards do not account for changes in patient census over the course of a shift. My colleagues and I can attest that we frequently need to beg the nursing office for additional staff. They will frequently staff us at our current census, completely disregarding that we will have admissions from scheduled OR cases. When confronted about this, supervisors have said to me that, quote, "Staffing is decided at 5 a.m. and not 12 p.m. A nurse coming in may start out with 6 patients, discharge 2, and then admit 2 more. They will have had 8 patients that day that all require their own assessments, education, and nursing care. All of these things must be performed and documented accurately at all times. One of our union siblings put it best when she compared nursing to juggling objects while walking a tightrope. Some of them are heavier than others, and as you add more of them, the chances that you drop one increases. On days that I have an unsafe assignment, it is a daunting task to do everything while walking that tightrope. We are simply not provided the tools that we need to succeed on a regular basis. Feeling like you failed to provide safe and dignified care despite going above and beyond is crushing. When a unit is poorly staffed, achieving safety comes at the cost of human dignity. Nurses sacrifice their own dignity on a daily basis by skipping breaks and staying late. Patients laying in dirty beds, waiting for medications, or even to be fed are paying for it too. Burnout isn't a strong enough word. These shifts cause us moral injury. If all of this weren't enough, we have to worry about making a mistake due to circumstances beyond our control and being convicted of homicide, as Redonda Vaught was last year. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation testified that the medical center itself had a, quote, heavy burden of responsibility, yet the nurse was the only one punished. Under the current system, hospitals get to absolve themselves of their responsibility to ensure safety while getting reimbursed for delivering substandard care. That is why we are here to urge you to pass and add a resolution to your agenda for the next session. By doing so, you will be empowering nurses, patients, and the New Jersey Department of Health to secure the future of quality health care in New Jersey. State Senator Dagnan has already co-sponsored this bill, but Assemblyman Stanley and Karabinchak have yet to follow suit. Will you, as municipal leaders of our community, add this resolution in support of state legislation A4536304 to your agenda? Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council president? Please.
Hi, I'm Troy Shinbrod. I live at 59 Tall Oaks, just down the street.
Can you spell your last name, sir?
Oh,
please?
I'm sorry, Shinbrot.
Thank you.
And me and my wife have lived there for 25 odd years. So we've had many occasions to visit Robert Wood Johnson. My mother recently died, and she was at Robert Wood Johnson many times. And we are extremely grateful for the career nurses and the career health professionals who were at Robert Wood Johnson. But it was very clear whenever some nurse was taking care of her that they had multiple things that they had to juggle at the same time, and they were often called away. And it was clear to me as a non-health professional that they were overstressed. It surprises me that at this time, 115 days after, 116 days after the nurses, went on strike, which is something that nobody wants to do. It surprises me that the hospital is continuing to spend over $1 million a day. A day. No, I understand.
This gentleman has the floor, please.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
My understanding is more than $1 million a day on replacement workers, and they seem willing to continue to do this as long as it takes to break the strike. I don't know how many of you remember during the COVID situation that these same nurses were risking their lives. They were risking their lives for us as New Brunswick and East Brunswick and South Brunswick and North Brunswick residents to care for us. And the idea that the hospital is willing to just peel off bills as long as it takes to destroy the strike of these people who are risking their lives for us is just appalling. And so I want to join our colleagues and friends who are nurses and ask you to put on the agenda the safe staffing bills. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council president?
Yes, I'm Kathy Scarborough, also on Tall Oaks Drive, and I pretty much just want to support the idea of a resolution and the work that the nurses do. And I just wanted to comment that this strike is really kind of unique in that the main issue is the staffing. And the idea that people would compromise their economic situation for more than 3 months over an issue like staffing really says to me that this is something that every township should be taking, should be taking note of, and passing these resolutions to encourage our state legislators to pass those bills. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address the council president?
Hi, Kevin Sexton, 10 Coleman Road. Just a clarification question, potentially for Mr. Baker. What were the ordinances that...
Address the chair.
Addressed to you, but maybe somebody else could, or if you know, what are the ordinances being moved until the next meeting?
There were all the ordinances on last meeting. I know the one you were concerned with involving the redevelopment plan. That'll be at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else wishing to address the council president?
Good evening, Honorable Councilman. My name is David Tocol. I am a staff nurse at David,
do you spell your last name, please?
That's T-O-C-O-L, sir. I am a staff nurse of Robert Wood Johnson in New Brunswick for more than 13 years. I am currently residing at Elm Court, Whispering Woods community since 2017. Tonight, we are representing the 1,700 nurses whom have been on strike for over 100 days now. We are fighting for a contract which includes appropriate and enforceable nurse-to-patient ratios. We are also organizing nurses and communities all across our state to work together in hopes of getting the safe staffing bills, the S304-4A4536, to be passed. Why are these bills matter? Because all patient deserves the right quality patient care. Studies have proven that less nursing staff leads to poor outcomes such as infection or bed sore, longer hospital stays, nurses leaving profession altogether due to continuous stress, burnout, and lack of support. Why does safe staffing matter to every resident of our community? At any given time, we are going to be a patient. All of us. You, me, your spouses, your own children, and other people that you cared for. We don't want to wait for that time until we become that patient. Waiting in the ER for a number of hours because you're the 5th or the 6th patient just to be attended by already all overwhelmed nurses. Studies have showed that for every 1 additional patient in nurses' workload, increases the likelihood of patient's death by 7% within 30 days of admission. Nurse staffing shortages are a factor in 1 out of every 4 unexpected hospital deaths or injuries caused by medical errors. You don't want to be a part of that data, especially your loved ones. We don't want to be part of that too. This is why we're here, outside the street, day and night, 24/7, for over 100 days and continuing. From burning heat of the summer to the bone-chilling winter, risking our own health, our profession, sacrificing quality time intended for our families, because we continue to fight for the health and safety of our communities, this community. Your honorable councilmen, will you, as the municipal leaders of our communities, pass this resolution in support of state legislation A4536-S304? Let us all together reach out to our elected state legislator and respectfully pressure them to pass these safe staffing bills. More communities have already took part in this fight, passing their own resolution in support of this bill. Maplewood, Highland Park, Clifton, to name a few, and more to come. The state of California and Oregon was able to make it happen, and Pennsylvania is now almost there. This is the right time. Make this your legacy. Together, let us make this unprecedented history for our state of New Jersey. Thank you.
With regard to the last 8 people who have come to the podium and presented to me their thoughts, instead of, I don't want to compromise anything. If you want to continue to talk, we'll give you your 5 minutes. But with regard to what we can do, this is under my guidance. I will need to see the safe staffing bill. I will need to share this safe staffing bill with my fellow colleagues. I will need someone, a representative from one of you, to give me your name, your address, your phone number, so that I can contact you with regard to whether we are or are not. I don't want it to be simply you coming to the next meeting and looking at the agenda and not seeing it there. Transparency is the guideline to East Brunswick governance. So once again, I will need, this meeting will continue. You're going to have to hang around so that someone can give me the contact information so that we up here can move forward. Does anyone else want to address the council president? Tom, just 1 second with regard to the safe staffing bill.
Evening, my name is Jennifer Kwok. I live at 2 Persimmon Court. I didn't prepare anything, but I just want to put into perspective, like in the everyday sense, the importance of what we're fighting for here. At the heart of this strike is safety, and safety is important for everyone. Safety is the imperative that we all rely on to get through everyday life. That is the reason for water utilities. That is the reason for police force. Like, this is why safety is an important thing for everyone to feel secure and to be able to be healthy. It's the basis of everything. So what we're fighting for is a very basic thing. We're asking for a safety measure that's good for literally everyone. It ensures that every person that comes vulnerable, sick to the hospital that needs care gets adequate time, adequate attention, gets the care they need and deserve so that nothing is missed. And it's just another measure that ensures human life is protected. And I think that's something we can all appreciate. So I'm just trying to make it more an easy, practical thing for you to wrap around. I know it's a lot of talk about A4536 and S304, which is very important to pass, but in your everyday sense, at any point, we can become a patient of the hospital, of any healthcare facility, and you want to be able to know that you're getting the time and attention you need, that your loved ones need, so that your life matters and is preserved. And I think, you know, when I look at the seal of the township, it says plan, purpose, and progress. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create the plan to ensure safety for all, and that is our purpose for this strike, to ensure that anyone that goes to care anywhere across the state of New Jersey is given accessibility to safe care. Everyone deserves to have their life preserved, so that's all I wanted to add to that. Thank you.
Council President, Mayor. On a personal note, Robert Wood Johnson saved my life 27 and a half years ago with quadruple bypass, so they got my vote.
Tom, we need your name.
Excuse me?
Your last name?
Ingrasani, Tom Ingrasani, Deerfield Road.
Thanks, Tom.
There's another local question I have here is, if you go down Riders Lane, make a right on Summer Hill Road, 2 blocks on the left, there's a pole that's split in half. It's been like that for, I've seen a few weeks. So maybe with the ice and snow, it's going to get worse. Could you look into that?
We have Mr. Crisculo. I have personally called him a couple of times, and it's I do believe, a county situation, or a county down, there's electrical water.
It's a heavy pole, a transformer on the top, too.
Yep.
And the other thing is, when does leaf pick up? Because it was supposed to be 2 weeks ago on my block, and it was yet to be picked up. It's taken up 3 spots in my house with all the leaves I have.
Well, the most recent post by the Township website showed a new map, and were there dates there, too, with regard to what's going on, so?
Well, I said the 13th and the 27th is supposed to be today, and I think December 11th, but
It's going to be picked.
That's for the, I'm sorry, Council
Okay.
President, may I?
Mr. Crisculo.
That date is arranged. We had 9 trucks out today picking up leaves because they all fell at once. They all waited for Thanksgiving. They all fell down. And so we had 9 trucks with 2 grabbers picking them up, and the trucks couldn't keep up with the grabber. That's how many leaves are on the ground.
I see
And
that.
people don't follow the rules on where they should put the leaves. I see my friend over there from Tall Lake saying yes. Okay, so it's causing a safety problem because leaves, when they get wet, are as slippery as ice. So that's why we're going to bag leaves next year. You bag them, and we can move through the town a little bit faster. But now we're going as fast as we safely can. And with the storm of yesterday, all the water that came down, all the leaves that were in the roadway now filled catch basins. So instead of the other team of people being able to pick up leaves, guess what they did? They cleared catch basins, okay?
I saw
So
that.
another reason why we want to go into bags is so that doesn't happen, okay? So now I have a whole team that could be picking up leaves at your house that are clearing basins because all the leaves just filled it up because people didn't follow the rules. They're out there in force. They're going as quickly as they
That's
safely
it.
can.
That's the bottom line, Mr. Ingrasani.
No, I understand.
They're coming eventually.
I just didn't know, I kept it on my lawn until the day they were supposed to pick it up.
Got it.
Now it's still on the street, and
You put them in
You're
the street.
Pick out of 3
You're one of
cars.
those guys put
Right.
them in the street, right there.
And
Okay.
and make them an offer they can't refuse.
Thank you, Mr. Ingrasani.
Okay, thank you.
Now, let's move on to our consent agenda. I'm sure that, before we go to our consent agenda, how about if we take a 2-minute recess in case a majority of our professionals do want to exit. If you want to hang around, we still have another 20 minutes of meeting. Okay, they're going to stay. Good. Governance in action. All right, let's move on. Thank you, sir. Let's move on to our consent agenda. Does anyone need any resolutions to be separated? Yes, I do. Seeing none, may I have a motion for Resolution 23-326 through Resolution 23-340.
Motion adopted.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilman Wendell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Winston?
Yes.
Councilwoman Zambicki?
Yes.
And Council President McAvoy?
Yes.
Thank you.
We don't have any ordinances for introduction. There are no new resolutions for discussion for the good of the cause.
Water meter placed.
Just a note that tomorrow from 7 to 9 at East Brunswick High School, there'll be a special presentation on the potential building of a new high school or rebuild of a high school. It is a golden opportunity to come out to learn what is being discussed and planned. And more importantly, it's a golden opportunity for the public to provide some feedback as well. So there'll be two different sessions. One will be an explanation in the auditorium, and the second will be in the cafeteria, where there'll be a community feedback piece to that. And I strongly encourage people to go, to be a part of government.
Okay. One of my,
I just have a question.
okay.
Do you know if there's going to be more than one meeting and opportunities for the public to have interactions with the school board or administration on this project?
I do not. I'm not
Yeah,
aware.
that was not clear.
Right,
With regard to a secondary meeting, that's why Councilwoman Zambicki announcing this, it's very important if you're an East Brunswick resident that you attend this meeting
Because
tomorrow night.
ultimately, at the end of the day, the decision on what gets done, whether the decision is to do nothing, the decision could be to do a renovation, the decision could be to do a brand-new school in its entirety. All of those have totally different price tags associated with it, and at the end of the day, it goes out to referendum for residents to vote on. So, what we want is to make sure that, while you make that extraordinarily important decision, that you have all the information that you need to make that. So as many opportunities to learn about what's going on would be encouraged, and we strongly encourage as many of you to go out and learn about that so that you can make an educated decision. It will be your decision, not the Board of Ed, not the Township Council, but the public.
And that public word is a referendum. And that would be something that, again, that's the governing body on the other side of Route 18. I usually use Route 18 for the division between the two governing bodies. On this side of Route 18, we have no say whatsoever. However, it's a referendum that will definitely have lasting impacts. One of my favorite monthly readings is the New Jersey Municipalities magazine. That just demonstrates the level of nerd that I am. I use the word nerd with reverence because I take my job very serious. So as I'm thumbing through before I begin to read the magazine, I come to page 20, and there's the right side of affordable housing, the success of East Brunswick's Community Housing Corporation, and it's written by our esteemed mayor, Brad Cohen, and it's an article about the history of affordable housing here in East Brunswick and how it gets moved through the system in Trenton. So congratulations on an outstanding article, Mayor, and continued good work with regard to that. Anything else with regard to, go to the cause? Motion for, second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Good evening.